Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's go. Number one commentary channel on YouTube. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think everything should be working just fine. I tried to go live a second ago. It says we're live now. Let me refresh the page. What's going? Yeah, we're good. We're live. I just wanted to make sure because I went live a second ago. But UFC 299, guys, the recap. We're finally live. Excuse me. It went pretty good for us. 3-2 on the main card. Some fights went exactly the way we called it. Other fights, maybe not so much. And we'll talk about that. We have some voicemails pending as well, too, which we'll talk about in a second. Let me see if this is all working just fine. Give me 1 second. Let me see. It says we're live. Okay, I think we're good. I don't know what happened there, but we're good now. UFC 299, the recap. Sean O'Malley defends his title, and there were a bunch of you guys that felt that was going to be the case. And for those that picked Sean O'Malley, credit to you. You guys got it right. I thought Marlon Chito Vera would show, and it's not even fair to say show more heart. I just thought he would have left a little more out there as far as going for broke and falling on his shield, so to speak. Because he did I believe it was 230 strikes landed by Sean O'Malley. So it's not like he wasn't there to be hit or willing to try to, stay on his feet despite getting hit a bunch of times. It was more so I thought he would go for broke as far as more offensively. I should have maybe paid attention a bit more as far as following my own gut and him doing what he did against Corey Sandhagen, where that was kind of the case, right? Where he was there to be hit. He was there to stand in the pocket, but not necessarily go for broke as far as going for the knockout, right? And that's what made it a little bit interesting to me. But we do have some voicemails to get to. 267-545-8096 if you want to listen back, or if you want to call in and share your thoughts on what's the future for Sean O'Malley, what's the future for Marlon Vera, for Dustin Poirier, for Benoit, for Kevin Holland, for Michael Venom Page, who I thought had a great performance, albeit he didn't get the knockout that maybe he wanted, but I thought he did quite okay. So let's get to the first voicemail. We have 4 of them, so we got plenty to work through. Thank you guys for always coming through. Let's get to the first voicemail. Here we go.
What's up, MillerDC? This is the People's Champ Chris Bate talking. Let me say this. Before Sean O'Malley had that successful, dominant victory over Marlon Chito Vera, let me say this. I should have never doubted him from his fight with Aljamain Sterling. After he fought him, I was like, you know what? I'm going for Sean O'Malley. I wasn't going for Chito Vera, and I'm going to tell you the reason why I wasn't going for Chito Vera. Because in his last 2 fights, I'll talk about Chito Vera of late last year, his fights was completely awful. I remember a long time ago I said, he's going to become champion by the end of 2023.
You're absolutely right, Chris. His last 2 fights were awful. And why didn't I take that more into consideration? Is a little bit of the Ecuadorian side of me maybe taking that and saying, you know what, he's going to show up this time. It was a little bit hopeful for me, I'll admit. 999 says, I was 4-1 on the main card due to Loudmouth getting shut out. Going to Loudmouth getting shut out. Who's Loudmouth getting shut out? Are we talking about Kevin Holland? Is that the fight that you got wrong? Yo, Miller, hope you and the family are well, my brother. What's up, Rick Grimes? Welcome to the stream, man. Thank you for everybody coming through. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button, the thumbs up. Appreciate you, Rick Grimes. How did he do on the card on UFC 299, and what were your thoughts, Rick? Back to the voicemail that Chris is explaining about Sean O'Malley and why he picked him and why he was right. Here we go.
That prediction was lacking. And his fight with Sandhagen and Pedro Munoz was totally bad. The only reason...
You're absolutely right, man. I just thought that going or heading into a championship fight, maybe even one that you don't deserve, the only reason you got it is because of your first fight about 3.5 years ago against Sean O'Malley, where you hit the perennial nerve, you got the win, but that's the only reason you're getting it, because based on your last 2 performances, they weren't the best. So does he even ever get a title shot again?
I can consider the fact that the reason why Barrow was considered number one contender for O'Malley because, okay, yes, he beat O'Malley. He was the first man to beat O'Malley. Why he couldn't fight other guys, for example, like Merab Wallace Bailey or Henry Cejudo. If he would have fought him, one of them, then yeah, O'Malley.
And let's get to the next voicemail that we have, and then we have another
I'm
one
not
from
gonna
another
lie.
caller.
For months after O'Malley became champion, I know for the fact that Barrow wasn't going to win. And did you even see what he looked like the day before the fight in the weigh-ins? Bro, he looked like a fucked up crackhead that had a fight with
Chris throwing some jabs this Monday afternoon.
a raccoon. And the raccoon won by unanimous decision. I'm like, nah, this guy's not going to win. I'm not going to lie. The funny part is that I made a bet for someone. I made a bet over someone. This guy, he's from Ecuador, but he was born here in this country. $150. O'Malley wins by unanimous decision.
Wow.
He gave me the money. But honestly, like, I remember when Sean O'Malley said, "Oh, I want to have the champion until 2035." Well, I don't know if that's possible, but I think I know what he meant by that. He wants to become the greatest of all time in bantamweight history. That I respect. I have nothing against that. But he needs to get past all guys like Merab, Corey Sandhagen, everybody. That's it.
In order to be considered the best. I think we got one more voicemail from Chris Faith. Let's play that one next, and then we'll play the one, I believe, from Beta. 267-545-8096. If you want to share your thoughts on UFC 299, this is the recap. Let's play the next one by Chris.
I am very also impressed with Dustin Poirier for his performance. I thought the French guy was going to win. And you want to know?
I love the honesty. That's why we're trying to build a great community. Chris is being honest. He's saying, you know what? I was right about O'Malley, but listen, I was wrong about Dustin Poirier. Let's see what he has to say.
The reason why I wasn't rooting for Dustin Poirier was because I thought he was going to lose after his significant loss to Justin Gaethje.
And that was something that was worrying me heavily. And a lot of people picked against Dustin Poirier as well too. So you're not the only one. Because he got knocked out in the fashion in which he did against Gaethje, head kick knockout. I mean, look what happened to Volkanovski. Is it fair to compare? You guys tell me. But Volkanovski got knocked out by Islam Makhachev in their rematch, and that was part of the reason why I picked against him in his last fight against Topuria. Topuria up and comer, fresh challenger for Volkanovski. Volkanovski just coming off a knockout. I thought that would play a role. Now, I did believe that was a little bit different as far as Poirier versus Benoit. On the other hand, I picked Dustin Poirier to win. I just thought the experience was a bit too much. Benoit never fought someone like Dustin. Dustin has been proven over 30 fights now in the UFC. So in that case, I went for Poirier, even though he came off a knockout loss. Volkanovski, I went against him coming off a knockout loss. There was a gut feeling, so to speak, that I thought that he would bounce back, that he would prove that he's a better fighter against Benoit. Now, what people are saying as of recent, they're saying, well, Benoit was dealing with a staph infection. How much, and he made a post about it, speaking of it too, how he was on antibiotics and that's why he wasn't 100%. How much weight do you guys put into that on why Benoit lost? Or would he have lost regardless? Let's get back to the voicemail.
But I hear so many rumors, including a guy known as Ali Abdulaziz, that idiot, say, he should fight Islam Makhachev for the time. Like, whoa. No.
I think we're about to agree, man. I'm not too mad at Poirier getting the shot. Chris Faith doesn't sound too fond of that title shot. Let's see what he has to say.
No. First of all, that fight wasn't the number one contender fight because even if Benoit Saint Denis were to win that fight, he wasn't going to fight for the title. Look, either Justin Gaethje is next or the winner of Oliveira versus Barukian is next. And Dustin Poirier, he may have had a win, but if he...
Yeah, he beat number 12, speaking of Poirier, so that doesn't necessarily earn him a shot.
Wants to fight
But I will say, hey, there's so many contenders in the lightweight division that already has had a shot. Oliveira, Chandler, that are up in the rankings as well too. If we look at the rankings real quick, Oliveira has had a shot at the title before. Gaethje has had a shot at the title before. Poirier as well too. Saryukin is a fresh new face. That's one of the only ones, and it appears he's getting the shot next anyways. And Chandler, all these guys have had a shot. Are you confident that Gamrot should get the shot next and or win? He's a teammate of Poirier. Beneil coming off 2 losses. There's not that many options besides Saryukin, and that's why I'm not so upset about potentially Poirier getting the shot next.
He could fight either Oliveira or Saryukin. He is not next in line. I don't know who keeps saying he's next in line. He is not next in line. Heck no. If he fights Islam, let's just say as of right now or a month later, he'll have an automatic lose. I'm serious.
We have 2 more voicemails, so thank you for everybody calling in, man. This is going to be recipe for a good show. So thank you guys. Hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up. Potentially bad take, potentially a good one. You guys tell me. Let's make that a poll. Should or how many fights before Dustin Poirier gets a title shot again? Let's go next up. Wait, let's go 1 more, 2 more. How many fights before Dustin Poirier gets a title shot again? 1 more, 2 more, 3 more, or very next fight? Let's see how people vote. But this is a topic of discussion. I'm really thinking about this out loud. I didn't think about it too much. I think Saryukin gets a shot next. Poirier could perhaps not decisively, but could perhaps just wait out and get a title shot next.
You need people. You need people like me so you can point your fingers.
Why not? Again, I went through the list of names in the rankings, and Oliveira, Gaethje, Chandler, all of these guys have had a shot at the title. There's only Saryukin and Poirier. If Islam beats Saryukin, why not? Why not Poirier? Now you can say, well, Gaethje beat Poirier, so he's next in line. That's fair. I would understand. So maybe you say 1 more. Maybe Poirier needs to get 1 more win before he gets a shot. He did lose to Oliveira before, but he did beat Chandler. All I'm saying is that it's not the worst. It's not necessarily the worst idea. Rick Grimes says, I only got 2 fights wrong on the card, Cheeto and Holland. I thought we're going to show up. I thought Cheeto would show up a little bit more. Holland, I wasn't so confident in, just because he has had a history of kind of playing around in big fights. But I guess you could say the same thing about Cheeto not being so offensive. So that's where I messed up. But it is what it is, says Rick Grimes. I was big on Poirier winning. I thought him being the underdog was crazy. Same. He made me some money. He made me almost $300, by the way, Rick Grimes. But I made some money. You and me both. Let's go. We made some money. Dustin is the gatekeeper of lightweight division. He played that role in this past Saturday against Benoit. Benoit, number 12. They were looking to elevate him. Poirier was a good name. Speaking of gatekeepers, Gilbert Burns was another one who was about, a minute and 17 seconds away from being the champion. That hurt to watch. That was tough to watch, I'm not going to lie, because he had an opportunity. He had an opportunity to, win, and maybe 1 or 2 fights after that and get the title shot. He was close, man. He was really, really close. And you know what? He just failed at the gatekeeper role, but Poirier was successful. Now we have another caller. Shout out to Beta Quest. And calling in. Let's play the next voicemail.
Miller. I know I missed last week's shows. I'm a little busy.
Shame on you for missing the show, right? Just kidding. The GK, the gift of king.
But I am in my human ways got a few things wrong. I went with my heart.
As usual for Beta Quest, right? I mean, am I mistaken in saying that Beta is 72% wrong most of the time? Anyways,
Instead of my head, and I picked Cheeto. I picked Cheeto because of his story, and because when he does show up, he does show up. Did I expect him to? I didn't. I do think that
I voted maybe with my heart a little bit in hindsight. Beta.
ever since he became a Spanish commentator, his fighting ability or his fight willingness has gone down. I'll say that. He seems a little hesitant.
Let's pause there for a second, Beta, because that's a good point. And you've been making them more often than not as of recent. Listen, let's go back just a few seconds.
Ability or his fight willingness has gone down. I'll say that.
Why is that the case? He had to have known he was down 4 rounds to 0. And my simple question that maybe you guys can answer and that I've been kind of dealing with in my head a little bit. Could he have done a little bit more in that 5th round, or was he tired? Did he take too much punishment? Or is it simply a mental barrier? I'm almost at a place where, listen, go out on your shield, and I don't necessarily know if he was willing to do that. He obviously wasn't willing to do that against Corey Sandhagen. Maybe he showed a little bit more heart in this fight against Sean O'Malley, but I thought he could have left just a tiny bit more out there, is my assumption. I could be wrong, but it just seems like that willingness isn't there. Like, listen, you've never been knocked down before. You have an iron chin. At this point in the 5th round, take 2 to even in the 4th round, take 2, take 3 to land 1. It almost seemed like every time he was landing against Sean O'Malley, it was effective. There were only a few seconds left when he landed that left hook to the body where it hurt O'Malley, but that's just a little bit too late. And maybe O'Malley was a little bit more willing to get hit there because he knew there wasn't much time left on the clock. But nonetheless, it is a little bit frustrating as a spectator. Now, it's easy for us to say because we're not eating knees to the face. That was one of the most vicious knees that I've ever seen in my entire life. And for Cheeto to kind of just not necessarily walk through that, but to weather the storm and still be willing to exchange was insane. But at that point, get knocked out or get the knockout, I think. It seems like I agree with Beta. The willingness wasn't necessarily all the way there.
He seems a little hesitant when he's in the octagon. And to Sean O'Malley, kudos to him. I mean, it was a great performance. I personally don't think it makes it like, I personally don't think it's as great as everyone says.
Why is that? Because he's fighting a man that was gifted, you could arguably say, the title shot. I mean, Marlon Vera was what, number 5 in the rankings? And he's coming off a loss to Sandhagen and a debatable against Munoz. So that maybe we are making too much of this win for Sean O'Malley, because yes, he did win, but he beat Marlon Vera, who's coming off a loss against Sandhagen, a debatable against Munoz. Are we giving him too much credit after this win? Before we talk about him being one of the greats in the UFC, pound for pound, maybe he needs to beat Merab. Maybe he needs to beat Corey Sandhagen. Is he getting a little bit too much credit, is my question to you guys.
He beat a guy who shouldn't have been there in the first place. That's something we've all said.
You need people like me. You need people like me so you can point your fingers.
Beta is playing the bad guy. He's playing Scarface right now. Listen, good points. Here we go.
Cheeto Vera didn't deserve the shot. And he beat the guy who didn't deserve the shot. That's fine.
Maybe we have been giving him too much credit.
But Benoit Saint and me getting
damn, I almost wish Beta would have talked a little bit more about that. He's going to talk about Benoit next. Beta, you're making me think live on stream, and that's what we do here. Hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button. Listen, he beat Marlon Vera at the end of the day. Did I pick him to win? Absolutely. So am I being a somewhat of a hypocrite? A little bit. But he beat number 5 in Marlon Vera, who lost to Corey Sandhagen. He shouldn't have even got the shot next. He's getting it because of the history that he has with Sean O'Malley. So are people making too much of this win for Sean O'Malley? They're calling him the greatest striker in the UFC. That might be a bit too much, because in order to be called the greatest striker, or top 3, you could say, in the UFC, you have to be a great striker. What great striker has he beaten? He's beaten Moutinho, who was a punching bag. Marlon Vera essentially was a punching bag. I mean, who else has he beat? Let me quickly give me 1 second. Look at the list of names. Now, Petr Yan was a good name, but again, there was a lot of debate on that one as well too. Many fans thought that Petr Yan won that fight 2 rounds to 1. So he was potentially gifted a decision. Does he have so you have Paiva, you have Moitinho, Petr Yan, Sterling, Vera. Are these names enough to call him essentially the best striker in the UFC? I would say no.
Obliterated was not on. That is not how I expected it to go. Second round, 2 minutes and 32 seconds into the fight, just like Poirier's knockout against McGregor. It was wonderful. It was a great night.
He won fight of the night, and remember us talking live on stream. I thought it was an obvious after the 299 ended. That was the best performance at 299. Or was it Sean O'Malley beating Vera? To me, no. Was it MVP beating Kevin Holland? I was impressed. I was, at least out of all the fights on 299 on the main event, Petr Yan looked great against Song. But out of all these fights on the main event, to me, the most impressive performance at or in Miami for UFC 299 was Dustin Poirier.
What else happened? Kudos to Jag Della Maddalena. I didn't have him winning. He took it in the end.
I love that, at least in our community. Beta doesn't have to admit the fights that he got wrong, but he chooses to do so. And everybody that has called in thus far has admitted, listen, this is a fight that I got right. This is a fight that I got wrong. Let's make that a trend. 267-545-8096. Let us know your thoughts on the recap for UFC 299. Tell me how you feel about Sean O'Malley, how you feel about Dustin Poirier, and all the performances. MVP. But great voicemail thus far by Beta Quest.
No, I had it 2-1.
Give MVP the wag, says 999 in the chat. That's wild to say. I like that fight too, but what most people are claiming for is for the Stephen Thompson fight. I don't think it happens, but it would be such an amazing moment if Poirier won the lightweight title, says Rick Grimes. Like, movie worthy considering how many times he's tried and failed to capture that title. Imagine he gets the job done against Makhachev or Saryukin. If he does get the shot, give him the shot, man. He's done enough to deserve it, right? If Colby could fight for the title 3 times, why not Dustin Poirier? If Colby fought Usman for the title twice, then fights Leon Edwards when he didn't even deserve that fight, give Poirier a 3rd shot against Makhachev and see what happens. If he fails at this point, then that's understandable. But give him the shot. Oh, Moicano by Trash Talk on 300 says 999. He should fight Paddy Pimblett next.
Burns at first, and then he walked away with it. Kudos to Petr Yan. I didn't know how that fight was going to end. You know how the judges are.
I got that fight wrong, to be honest.
I'm really glad he got the W, but I had Song Yadong winning just because I thought Song would implement more wrestling in his game, considering, there's obvious footage that Yan lacked the takedown defense, but I think Yadong just gassed out. And it was a wonderful night of violence.
Song had a great first round. And if he was able to have more in the gas tank or keep that up, he would have won. But Yan does what he has done in the past before against Corey Sandhagen. Corey Sandhagen won the first round, maybe 2 rounds. I believe that was a 5-round fight. And then Petr Yan just took over. Kind of the same thing against Song. Song, I believe, won that first round. The next 2 rounds, I think, were for Yan, clearly. And I think the scorecard said the same. I think they were all 29-28, if I'm not mistaken.
Congratulations to Trina. I did see online.
Trainer, that's wild. Trainer White.
That he's getting married, so I wanted to say that despite all the bad things I say about the man over the internet, he's a good dude.
Someone get this message to Trey. We are excited. He told me about it before the engagement, but the man is getting married. Shout out to Trey. I was in doubt. I thought he might not even like women. I wasn't sure, but he's getting married, and shout out to him. And he's a good dude, man. I'm truly, all jokes aside, happy for him.
And congrats to him. Also, the UFC does not need to make the Topuria and O'Malley fight. That's how I'm going to end this. Congrats, Trey. At least we can now say we know somebody loves you.
One of the best voice messages left because great points overall, and he leads, or he talks about my next topic. Let's play a video of Sean O'Malley talking about Ilia Topuria and fighting at 145 for the double champ status.
Calls your attention? Is it making history, that second belt? Is it something specifically about him, the undefeated? What is it about him that calls your attention?
Yeah, I mean, moving up to 45, that's champ versus champ, automatically is huge. Just knocked out Alexander Volkanovski, that's massive. You know, it's just an exciting fight. I'm here for massive fights, and that's what I want to be a part of. So if that's it, sweet. If Merab's it, sweet. You know, I like having options.
Yeah. And how would you think a fight with?
I like that he's because sometimes fighters or champs like Leon, again, one of my favorite fighters, Leon shows no interest in Bilal, but Bilal is next in line and he does deserve it. I do like that Sean O'Malley says, I want to fight Ilia, but if they give me Merab next, I'll beat him up. Whoever they give me, whoever they put in front of me, I'm going to win. That's what you want to hear from a champion, right? Give me any contender, doesn't matter. I realize that I have to pay my dues and get some title defenses, but if they give me Ilia Topuria, I'm okay with that as well.
Ilia would go.
I think a fight with anybody, I win by knockout. Obviously, I didn't knock Cheeto out, but, you know.
I mean, at this point, Cheeto might not be able to be knocked out. Or maybe after this fight, kind of like Ferguson, what Gaethje did to Ferguson. After that, his chin was conditioned. Cheeto, man, 230 significant strikes landed on him, and he didn't even get knocked down. Guy's a warrior. But but Sean O'Malley believes he'll knock out Ilia, which is kind of wild.
Don't lose confidence from that. Cheeto's, so tough. But yeah, I believe I could put Ilia's lights out.
What about the Ilia Topuria?
So he's talking about double champ status and about fighting Ilia. There was someone that didn't necessarily like what he was saying as far as his post-fight interview. And guess who that might be? I'll give you 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Who was hating maybe a little bit, or they have a point? A previous opponent. The person is Aljamain Sterling. Let's hear what he had to say.
For my boys, and I hope you guys do too, but he should have called out Merab and did the right thing. I think it's kind of ridiculous for him to say, Dana, get the jet to Spain. Like, what are you talking about, dude? You defended the belt again.
Is Aljamain Sterling hating, or is he right in saying that, you know what? He should have just called out Merab instead. Stop calling out fighters in other divisions. Fight the one next in line, that being Merab. Now that Aljamain Sterling doesn't have the title, Merab has been on a win streak. He's had wins, significant ones previously. Beat Cejudo, beat Jose Aldo, even though that was a horrible fight. But nonetheless, he deserves a shot, right? Well, Aljamain Sterling believes that. Listen, Sean O'Malley shouldn't even be talking about Ilia.
Against a guy who wasn't even ranked in the top 5. They moved him up to the top 5 to make it look like it was better, like he fought a top 5 opponent. How did Cheeto move up in the ranking? Who did he beat to move up in the ranking? He just barely beat Pedro Munoz.
This goes to what Beta was saying, that, listen, at the end of the day, Cheeto didn't deserve the shot. They elevated Marlon Vera in order for O'Malley to have arguably an easy fight.
And I feel like there's been another title fight, and I don't want to say names. There's been another title fight where a guy wanted to avenge his loss, and the guy was ranked like in the top 15, and he won. But it's just one of those things where, yeah, you won, but it'd be nice to fight the guy who's next in line. So that's the only thing that I feel a little bit awkward about, because I'm like, yeah, you won, but you won against a guy that we were.
This is a conversation that I feel we need to have more than I imagined. Are fans making too much of this Marlon Vera win? Is Sean O'Malley getting too much credit? It's a serious question, right? I mean, again, Vera didn't deserve the shot. He beats him decisively, but are people holding Sean O'Malley up too high in the rankings? Like, if you guys were to say pound for pound, where does O'Malley stand, right? I mean, let me quickly go back. Let's look at the rankings to see if they have him in the pound for pound. They have Sean O'Malley at number 8. We'll see in about 2 to 3 days if they move him up after beating Vera. But is top 5 too high? Like, do they put him above Ilia Topuria? I don't think so, but imagine if they did. Like, how much credit is too much credit for Sean O'Malley at the very moment?
All expecting you to beat. So as a champion, it's hard for me to put a lot of stock in that, because I just can't respect it as much. I do respect you win. Yeah, you go in there with anybody, it takes balls. And I'm just calling it how I see it. I see it.
Izzy hating, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go. He's right. If anything, even Dana said they were going to rematch. Aljo talking about Kobe. Is he talking about Kobe? I think Kobe was still like number 2 or number 3 in the rankings when he was getting the shot. So I'm not sure if he's talking about Kobe in this very clip.
Again, and
let me quickly go back. And then we have, before we get to that, let's play the next voicemail. We have 2 voicemails here. Let's get right to it.
It's Triple Nine here, and
Triple Nine in the building. Let's go. It's been a minute. Here we go.
Nine here, and Dustin Poirier gonna lose his career over jumping that guillotine, and Benoit sucks.
You don't understand how much that frustrated me that he kept jumping for that guillotine. We have another voicemail. Here we go.
Hey, so this is Triple Nine here, and I just wanted to figure out this: why is Sean O'Malley calling out Ilia Topuria whenever he needs to? Worry about his own division. You want to become double champ, but you want to avoid the number 1 contender who beat Piotr Jan, who just won over the up-and-comer Song Yadong, but lost to Sanhagen.
Maybe he shouldn't be calling out Ilya, but I don't think he's avoiding. That's where I would disagree a bit, because I've seen plenty of interviews and him talking about Merab. Even when he was fighting Marlon Vera, he was saying, after that I want Ilya. He saw fans saying, hey, Merab is next. And he was saying, I thought people weren't interested in that fight. But because they are, give me Merab next. I got to give credit where it's due, and I got to call it like I see it. I picked against Sean O'Malley, but he won. And I do appreciate that he's not pulling a Leon Edwards. And Leon is one of my favorite fighters. But he's saying, give me anybody you guys want. I'm going to beat him.
And then Piotr Jan beats.
We've seen a boy become a man here in the chat, Beta Quest, right? Like, he sounds like a grown man at this point. MTB Grizzly says, I watched the show over the MMA Hour. Miller, you got the ability to make this huge. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I'm having a lot of fun, and I feel we're improving, Grizzly. So thank you so much, man. I'm going to just keep chipping away at this until we become one of the biggest, not only live commentary shows, but also like recap shows and all that as well too. And to be going live at the same time as them is kind of wild, but hey, it is what it is. Let's have some fun. Grizzly, thank you for being a member in the channel as well too. I see you with the red glove.
Sanhagen, and then Piotr Jan wants to Merab Dvalishvili. So it doesn't make really much sense. So in my opinion, I think Sean should worry about his own division, sweep out these names real quick, make it easy.
But hear me out. I'm gonna finish playing the voicemail. Listen, guys. I'm gonna sound like a flip-flop. I had to do the zoom in for dramatic effect. Hold this thought. We'll get back to it. I don't know if anybody in the bantamweight division beats Sean O'Malley right now. I can't see anybody beating him that's currently in the bantamweight division, even Merab. Let's get back to the voicemail. Not proud to say that. Let's get back to the voicemail.
In a bigger fight.
267-545-8096 if you want to share your thoughts on UFC 299.
So Volk and Ilya can have the rematch in Spain. And then maybe if Volk wins it, then they can have it in Australia or something like that. But at least I just want Sean to worry about his own division and not the featherweight division. So, yeah.
That's a good point. Let's look at real quickly Sean O'Malley's division. You have, again, he already beat arguably the best bantamweight of all time, even though I don't agree with that. He beat Aljamain Sterling. Fair enough. Now he beat Marlon Vera. We might be putting too much credit on that win. He beat Piotr Jan, though, at the end of the day, too, on paper, even though we weren't too fond on that decision. What happens if he beats Merab and Corey Sanhagen? Is he up there with the best bantamweights of all time? I know this sounds a little bit premeditated, but we're just looking ahead. He's not that far away from having a historic career. He has a couple good wins in the bantamweight division. Prior to this fight, I don't think so much. I mean, the Moutinho fight, the Eddie Wineland, those aren't big names. But now he has Piotr Jan on his resume. He has Marlon Vera on his resume. If he beats Merab, where I think, as crazy as this might sound, I think Merab is really going to struggle with the range. I know he has been able to take down everybody he's fought. I think he's going to struggle closing the range against Sean O'Malley. And I think, I do believe that Sean O'Malley is going to catch him, as crazy as that may sound. So although he was maybe paved the way in order to fight for the title earlier than almost anybody else, and because of his, I guess you could say, attraction. I don't know, man. I think Sean O'Malley has a chance to really, when it's all said and done, to be one of the best bantamweights of all time. I think the opportunity is there. Chris Faith says, I'm going to be on Discord. Let's talk. All right, jump in Discord and we'll have a live conversation. I think the fans are tired of double champs stalling divisions and ruining the rest of the ranks careers. You've been hearing more fans be more vocal on saying, listen, this is enough. Stop it. Feel free to jump in there. If I see you in general chat, I'll add you. Let's quickly diverge. Let's talk about Dana White. We're going to continue the UFC talk, but it's just something that I had to bring up, guys. Here we go.
Boxing match last night. Did you talk to Eddie after it?
I did not. I mean, I saw it on social media. Yeah.
What did you make of that finish in the Francis fight?
Somewhere out there, Dana White is going to be talking about Francis Ngannou. Let's see what he had to say.
Right.
What do you mean? What did I make?
Yeah,
what did I make of it?
When you saw it, like it was. People are saying it's one of the more violent knockouts in boxing history.
Yeah, I mean, going into the Fury fight, if Fury trained for the fight and didn't show up and, look like he ate Tyson Fury, that's probably the way that fight would have ended too.
That has been the topic of discussion. That Fury wasn't in shape, that he didn't take the fight serious, and that's the only reason why Francis Ngannou looked good against Fury. Now that he's been knocked out by Anthony Joshua, the question is that true? Is it true that is it true that Francis Ngannou did well against Fury only because Fury didn't take that fight serious? And that was proven because Anthony Joshua just knocked him out cold. Because he knocked him down 3 times. The third time, Francis Ngannou was on the canvas for like 5 minutes, maybe more. Was he overhyped? Is he not as good of a boxer as people imagined? Does Dana White have a point?
I mean, listen, the crossover, you know how I feel about crossovers into boxing, and that's how they end, just like that.
Is Dana White hating, or does he have a point? We have Chris Faith on the line. Let's add him, and let's see what Chris Faith has to say. What's up, Chris? Welcome to the stream, bro.
What's good, MillerDC? What's up, everybody?
Good to have you, man. The people's champ.
Yeah, the people's champ has arrived.
Is in the building. I'm sure you have certain topics on your mind. Is there anything you want to talk about specifically before I ask you some interesting questions?
There was one thing I forgot to mention about Jack Della Maddalena. Like, I doubted him, and I thought Gilbert Burns was going to win. But one thing I didn't know after he won, he called out Shavkat Rakhmonov. I'm like, oh no.
Before we talk about whether he actually wins that fight, because we had a lot to say about Gilbert Burns prior to JDM. I thought Gilbert Burns was winning 2-0, even 3-0 in the third round, and he got caught. Was it more he made a mistake, or was it more we got to give JDM credit for finding the shot?
No lie, it's like, to me, Gilbert Burns, the day before the fight, he looked 100%. But on the day he was fighting with Jack, he did not look 100% to me. He did not.
What makes you feel that way? Like, what was it that you thought to yourself, listen, Gilbert, because I thought he looked good. I thought in the first 2 rounds, I thought he even landed the biggest shot in the second round.
No, he did look good. I'm not going to lie. I wasn't doubting him because I know the last time I doubted him was against Bilal Muhammad, which even though that fight was booty. But no, this fight, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go for Jack. I mean, not Jack. I'm going to go for Gilbert Burns because the last fight with Jack he had was Kevin Holland. That fight was not that good, to be honest.
Yeah, no, it was close. Some people even felt that Kevin Holland won. And JDM struggled in the first 2 rounds, but he catches Gilbert Burns with a knee. Let me ask you this, Gilbert Burns, do we ever see him fight for the title again?
From that loss? No, I'm sorry, but hear me out. If he wants to fight for the title, if I were to see him face to face, I could say move up to the middleweight division.
You don't think they'll be a little bit too big for him in the middleweight? I think I don't know if he could make it. It might be super tough. He has been.
Okay, but
Yeah.
let me say this. You want to know what fight in the UFC? This is before he went to PFL. Was once in welterweight, then middleweight, then light heavyweight. The one called Thiago Santos.
I know this might sound unfair, but I think Gilbert Burns is too small for the middleweight division. I would even go as far as to say he might be too small for the welterweight division because he struggled and his chin shows it. And he's fought at 155 before. I just think Gilbert Burns is too small.
Yeah, but the thing is, I don't see him going back to 155. Heck no. If he goes back to 155, I think the only issue is that he might miss weight and then he has to give 30%, 20 or 30% of his purse to whoever. And,
No, that's fair. Now, you mentioned JDM potentially fighting Shavkat. Any chance there?
Well, I never expected him to call him out. I thought I expected him to fight. Oh, I want to fight Wonderboy Thompson or MVP because since MVP made his debut, but I never expected to call out. I'm like, you do realize, like, if you were to fight him, that's not gonna only be just a simple fight. That's gonna be a #1 contender fight because just look, let's be real, DC. Let's be real. I thought like Shaka Ramana was gonna fight either Gilbert Burns or Usman, but Usman is not gonna fight him because I believe Abdulaziz is saying, "Oh no, don't fight this guy, man. I'm tired of that idiot." But no, like Shaka Ramana versus Jack Della, who is on a 17 fight win streak. 17 fight win streak. I'm like, wow, the 17 fight win streak winner versus the 18-0 winner. Oh, that. But no, if that fight's gonna have to happen, it has to be 5 rounds, not 3 rounds. No, it has to be 5 rounds.
And listen, he struggled. Speaking of JDM, and I picked him to win. He struggled with the takedowns of Gilbert Burns. Shavkat is a better wrestler, and not only that, he might even have more dangerous striking than Gilbert Burns at this point in his career. So I don't like that fight for JDM right now. I think it's a bit too
I don't
early.
like it neither. Yeah. I don't like it neither. But here's the thing: he just signed a death certificate.
By calling, and I think Shavkat is looking up. He's #3 in the division as well too. The only people above him are Muhammad, Usman, and then the champ. I'm not saying he gets a title shot next. I just don't think. I don't think they give him JDM right now. I think for Jack, you maybe give him a Ian Gary, a Stephen Thompson, like a name like that. You even keep him away from Colby Covington. What other fighters do you like in the welterweight division that you could give JDM?
JDM, I would like to see him fight, like as you said, but no. If I was him right now, change the mind of Shavkat Rakhmonov. I'm like, no, man, listen, you want to become champion? That's fine. But listen, like, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't risk it. It ain't worth it.
No, I agree, and I don't think they do that. I think if they want to build up fighters like JDM, that's not gonna happen anytime soon. Now, switching topics a little bit, Chris. Dustin Poirier, lightweight division, beating Benoit. What's next for him?
I think he needs to have not even one more fight. He needs to have 2 fights to go for the title because it ain't right that okay. I respect the fact that he knocked out Benoit. I'm not against that, even though, yes, I was wrong going against Poirier. But the only thing I could disagree that if he wants to go, because it's a suicide mission. Because if he goes and fight Islam Makhachev, I can see the same mistake. If he fights Islam Makhachev right now, I can see the same mistake what he pulled out against Khabib 5 years ago. Like I'm sorry, but if Dustin Poirier were to fight Islam Makhachev right now, I won't be rooting for him. I'll be rooting for Islam. I'm so very serious. And you want to know the reason why I'm saying that? Because like when Islam knocked out Volkanovski, I said this in front of her. I said, you know what? Next time I'm not rooting against Islam Makhachev.
Yeah, I picked against him before, and it has never gone my way for Islam Makhachev. He's solid. That's a tough fight for Dustin Poirier. I just think with everything that he's done in the UFC, he deserves at least one more shot at the title. I'm not saying he wins, but he deserves a shot.
He deserves it, but guess what? He needs 2 fights to win. And then we could talk about him going up to against Islam Makhachev. The only fight I can see him fighting besides the title, no. He needs to fight Oliveira or Zarukian.
And he needs to beat one of them, right? Yeah, I mean,
one of them.
And that was what was voted most in the chat today. How many fights before Dustin Poirier gets a title shot again? 50% said 2 more. So people are in agreement with the people's champ. Last but not least, Ilia Topuria, Sean O'Malley. Let's say they were to fight. No, even scratch that. Before that, Sean O'Malley, Merab Dvalishvili. Gun to your head right now. What fight do you like? What fighter do you like winning that fight?
Honestly, I keep thinking it could be Merab Dvalishvili, but something tells me Sean O'Malley might pull a trick up his sleeves. Because the thing about Merab Dvalishvili, he's beatable. And the last guy to beat Merab, who was the last guy to beat Merab all those years ago? Was it I forgot what was that guy's name. But he's still in the UFC though.
The last guy to beat Merab was quite a long time ago. Back in 2018, it was Ricky Simone.
Oh yeah, that guy. But that guy sucks now. I don't know why he's still in the UFC.
That was back in April 21, 2018. And guess how Merab lost? By guillotine choke. I'm not saying that Sean O'Malley's going to do that. I just could see Sean O'Malley catching him before he even gets close enough to get takedowns. And at the end of the day, Chris, as crazy as this might sound, I just think that Sean O'Malley has improved dramatically. People might not like his antics outside the octagon, but he's a damn good fighter. And he's at the prime of his career right now.
He is, and you know what's funny? I remember a long time ago, 7 months ago when he beat Sterling. He said, "Oh, I'm gonna keep the champ to 2035. I'm gonna keep going to 2035." I'm like, I still don't, but now I understand it because he wants to be considered the greatest of all time, and I respect that. And I'm not gonna lie, people may say, "Oh, but Dominic Cruz is the greatest of all time." I'm like, no, I disagree with that. I'm sorry, but let me say this as the people's champ to say this to everybody. As long as I continue to live on this very earth, I will never acknowledge Dominic fucking dumbass Cruz as the greatest of all time. And I'm going to tell you the reason why. I'm going to tell you the reason why right now. Because he only had 2 title defenses. Really? 2? And he had the champion from 2010 all the way to 2012 or something, because he vacated because he was injured. So how do you call him the greatest of all time if he has 2 slack defenses and he only vacated because of injury? He only won because he beat TJ Dillashaw, but that was that one fight. I guarantee he wouldn't beat him in the rematch. And the fact that he's the great. Let me say this: if he's the greatest of all time, why he didn't accept a fight with Jose Aldo before Jose Aldo retired? That would have been a good fight for him. That would have been a good fight, but no, he didn't accept it. He said, "Oh, I want to fight, bro. This guy, he's fighting like nobodies. Like this guy Casey Kennings." I'm like, who the hell is the guy, bro? You fought a nobody. You beat a nobody up. And you know what's so dumb? He beat Pedro Munoz, who already lost to Jose Aldo. How does that make? Tell me something, MillerDC. How does that make sense? You beat someone who lost to a former champion. The former champion that you should have fought. How does that make sense? That doesn't make sense.
He has some big names on his resume, but yes, only 2 title defenses. He lost to Cejudo, lost to Garbrandt, lost to Vera as well too.
Lie. I'm not gonna lie. The reason why he chose Cejudo because his dumbass decided, I'm a commentary guy. No. He only signed up because his dumbass was in the seat for like 2 or 3 years, and he decides to come. Oh yeah, because I was the first champ. Okay, the first guy to become champion for the first time. But guess what? Cejudo, dog. Even though I'm not a fan of Cejudo, or Ciculo as I call him, honestly, I never liked that fight. I never ever liked that fight. That fight was ass. And the fact that he's still a meme. I'm talking about like Cruz from that devastating knockout kick from Marlon Vera. He's still a meme to this day.
Dominic Cruz has some big names on his resume though, Chris. He beat Faber. He beat Demetrius.
You beat the guy who never became a UFC champion. Yeah, you beat Demetrius. Okay, that's true. He beat Demetrius Johnson. but that was only that one fight. I guarantee he would have never beat him at flyweight in a
Right.
rematch.
That is Demetrius Johnson going up to 135, and Demetrius is a small guy. That's fair. He also beat TJ Dillashaw, but that was a split decision. He beat Uriah Faber. Besides that, not many impressive names. And I'll give you the Demetrius argument is a good one. He didn't beat him at flyweight. He beat him at 135. That's fair. Besides that, he has what? Joseph Benavidez twice. Uriah
the guy
Faber.
who never became champion.
Right, a lot of names of guys that never became champion or just as respected as when he fought Cejudo, he lost, right, which would have been a big name. Then on the rematch, he lost to Cody Garbrandt. So yeah, he might have fell short a little bit.
Actually, there was never a rematch between Cody Garbrandt, because here's the real thing that was supposed to happen last year, but this guy I'm talking about, not Garbrandt, but I'm talking about Cruz, wants to be on commentary. And you know what's funny is that Cruz wasn't there on commentary this past UFC 299. I'm like, wow. I wondered why he didn't want to be on commentary, because I remember a long time ago, Sean O'Malley, this was before he fought Yan. He did call out Dominic Cruz. Dominic Cruz, no answer. And not just that, there was another fighter that wanted to fight Dominic Cruz. Actually, this was about 4 years ago, and it never ever happened. Corey Sandhagen. I wanted to see that fight. Everybody wanted to see that. And not just that. Look, you could either ask Corey Sandhagen yourself. Him and his team was contacting the UFC to fight Dominic Cruz. And what happened? Cruz, no response.
That's a scary fight for Dominic Cruz, especially
I
at this
don't
point
care
in
if
his
it's
career.
scary. I wanted to see that fight.
Yeah, it would have been, especially with the striking of Corey Sandhagen, and I guess you could say the footwork of Cruz, even though he might not be what he used to be. That would have been an interesting one as well too. So I'll give you that. Chris Fave not too fond on on Dominic Cruz, which is respectable. And then you did pick Sean O'Malley to beat Merab if they do fight, correct?
If they do fight, I think that fight's going to happen either August or September. I don't think October, because October is Abu Dhabi. Or, wait a minute. I would imagine they do it in Abu Dhabi. Yeah, that'd be a good one.
Yeah, let's see. Maybe that would be like 303, or I'm sure Sean O'Malley is going to want a decent break. Merab is going to have plenty of time to prepare. I do think they're going to give Merab the shot next. Any last thoughts on Sean O'Malley? And last question, how many title defenses before he stops becoming a champion, Chris, if I had to ask?
I think somewhere around 4 or 8. Because I believe he's going to surpass, look, he's going to surpass the records of Cruz and Sterling. Sterling still holds 3 consecutive defenses. And if he surpassed both of them, then we can all talk about that he is the greatest bantamweight, not just champion, the greatest bantamweight fighter of all time.
And you think he gets it, right?
He will get it.
Wow. There you have it. Chris, thank you for the call, man. Super, super entertaining and hot takes. And if it does happen and we could go back in the past, we'll have this live show to show that, hey, you called it. He'll have 4 to 8 title defenses. Thank you for the call, Chris.
All right, man. Thanks.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Chris Faith with some hot to say that Sean O'Malley is going to be the best bantamweight of all time. When it's all said and done, I'll be honest, I wasn't a believer when I first saw him. I guess you could even say against Piotr Yan. I thought he was going to lose that fight. It was a split decision win. He didn't even look so sure that he won that fight. They give him the nod. Then he beats Aljamain Sterling. I did pick him to win that one. He knocks him out with a beautiful straight right hand. And then he rights the wrong against Vera. You give him Merab, and if he wins that, he might just need to beat Merab and Corey Sandhagen for us to say, you know what? Best bantamweight of all time. That's what? That's 1, 2. That'll be 3 title defenses if he beats Corey Sandhagen and Merab, which is quite impressive. And then he has some big names on his resume. Now, when it comes to Aljamain Sterling, he wins the title by one of the greatest acting jobs that I've ever seen, by legal knee. Then he defends it against Piotr Yan, TJ Dillashaw, and Henry Cejudo. I would say, remember, TJ Dillashaw had the shoulder injury. Against Cejudo was a split decision. So he has, and then against Piotr Yan was a split decision. That's 3 wins. Piotr Yan, TJ Dillashaw, Cejudo. As compared to if Sean O'Malley beats Sanhagen, Marab, and then beat Vera. I would say those three names are a little bit more impressive than the 3 title defenses that Sterling has.
You need people like me. You need people like me so you can point your fingers.
I can't believe we're at a place in time where we're really considering that Sean O'Malley has not only is it possible, he has a good chance to become the greatest bantamweight of all time. I know it sounds crazy. I know it sounds insane, but that could very well be the case. We've been live for about 50 minutes. Dope stream today, guys. Thank you for the ongoing support. Let's play one more video and then maybe make one more point about UFC 299. This is some footage of what happened. Going back to Dustin Poirier, when he was pulling guillotines, one guillotine after another, listen, if you guys remember us watching this live, I was frustrated. I was tired of seeing him go for something over and over again, wasting his energy just to not get it and then end up on the bottom and close guard. But this was the result. Let me lower it a little bit. I know it's a little bit loud. He went for the guillotine again. That was like the 3rd time that he went for it. Unsuccessful. Left straight, left hook. That right hook was just a thing of beauty. Beltran gets in the way. One more time, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, and when he stunned him that first time, was it a left straight that we called in the preview show? I think it was a left straight. Let's see. I'll go back up. Beautiful, beautiful left. Dustin Poirier has some of the. They talk about Max Holloway having maybe the best striking in the UFC. They talk about Sean O'Malley. I think you got to put Dustin Poirier up there. Scory, welcome to the stream, man. How you doing today? Crazy event, right? How did you go for UFC 299? I went 3-2. What was your record? It was a beautiful left straight. Going for the guillotine. Breakaway, left hook, right hook. The crazy thing about this fight too, speaking of Dustin Poirier, is that he was, as crazy as this might sound, Benoit was a -200. And let's talk about this real quick, because let's look at Benoit's record. I don't know why people were so faithful in him. Granted, he has had 5 finishes. He loses his first fight in the UFC, 5 fights in a row by finish. But look at the names, and that's something I was trying to tell people before. Stoltz, Miranda, Bonfim. Again, Bonfim, a good fighter. Thiago Moises, good fighter. Favola, good fighters. But to be a -200 against Poirier with that resume, when Poirier, again, what I was trying to tell people, the man has fought Gaethje, although he lost, but he beat him before. Gaethje, Chandler, Oliveira, McGregor, Hooker, Khabib, Holloway, Eddie Alvarez. The guy has fought the best of the best in the UFC. So for Benoit to be a -200, I thought was easy money to make. I truly, truly felt that way. Easy money to make. Benoit was a -200. And it just goes to show the changing of the guards always happens. I thought for Gilbert Burns, that was part of the case. JDM was going to beat him. But to have Benoit as a -200 was, to me, a little bit ridiculous. And it paid off to put some money on Poirier. I thought it was a little bit ridiculous. Benoit, again, he has beaten big names, but let me see if I could pull it up real quick. There was a screenshot that I sent. Earlier today to some friends. Let me see if I could find it. Oh, who was it by? Let me see if I could find it real quick. It was by Fight Tale. And the last thing I would like to ask you guys is, do we play? Look at Pat Sabatini, the man, the myth, the legend. Do we play, or how much consideration do we put into this? This is what I wanted to bring up. Listen to what Benoit had to say. I know my camera is covering it a little bit. But he says, unfortunately, tonight I couldn't fully express myself. My body didn't keep up after a week of antibiotics to fight an infection. Excuse or the truth, guys, is the question. Is that an excuse or was that the reason why he lost? Wilson in the building. What's up, Wilson? Welcome to the stream, man. How you doing today? It's great to see you. I always see you liking the videos and shorts on TikTok. Appreciate you a ton, man. It's great to have you back, and it's great to see you with the gold glove. Thank you so much for always supporting. Benoit, in my opinion, is a better fighter. Just got slept. HL, welcome to the stream. What makes him a better fighter? Because he was winning the fight. He was up 1-0 going into the second, I believe. He was able to take down Poirier, which to me, the decision making by Poirier was, this might be too heavy of a claim, a little bit abysmal. To keep going for that takedown, or not even that takedown, that guillotine it almost cost him. But Benoit says, I couldn't fully express myself. My body didn't keep up after a week of antibiotics to fight an infection. He also says, throughout I was present, but my body was absent. It did not react as usual. I only had one round to give you. Sorry to disappoint you. I will come back stronger. Thanks to Dustin for accepting this fight. It was impossible for me to not seize the opportunity of such a fight. He was winded after that first round. So it was Poirier. But my honest opinion on what Benoit had to say, my honest opinion is the outcome would have been the same. Because of the pace that fight started, I thought that was going to be the outcome. Benoit looked tired. So did Poirier. And Poirier is known to have a great gas tank. So I truly do believe the reason why they both were a bit winded was not because of the antibiotics that Benoit suffered. It is partly due to Poirier going for guillotines and expending his energy not so wisely. I'll say that. But I don't think it was because of the antibiotics. I think Benoit lost simply because he fought a veteran in Dustin Poirier. What's up, Teron Brown? Welcome to the stream, man. Thank you for always coming through. Although, yeah, Dustin needs to actually stop guillotines. The guy went for 3 of them, was unsuccessful. Even his own corner said, stop going for these. And he kept going for them. It almost cost him. He almost got submitted. Definitely, bro. Just been really busy with life. All good, man. All good. You support nonetheless. I appreciate you, man. I hope the family and all that is good. But everything is good on this end, Wilson. So thank you so much. Teron, how do you feel about Dustin Poirier's performance? All that to say, I thought the pace of the fight was why Benoit got tired. I don't think it had so much to do with antibiotics. Because if he would have won, would he have mentioned any of this? You do see, I don't think you could zoom in too much, but you do see right here that mark. He did have staph infection. It was a little ugly. Maybe it affected the fight a little bit, but I don't know. I think the striking of Poirier was going to be enough to get him a win. Now, you do see in the comments, everyone who's never had staph probably should refrain from commenting low key. It is tough to go through. But someone says excuses. Fighting the diamond has nothing to do with it, says Charles. Did the staph make you incapable of blocking punches? He didn't do the best at blocking punches. Excusas. Someone even says it in Spanish. The excuses. Dustin biotics. My antibiotics affected my chin. Make it make sense, says Zaki. Okay, excuses. It almost seems like most people, at least in the comment section, are saying these are excuses. Excuses from the French seems historically accurate. Damn. French army must be a joke. So people are saying these are excuses. I thought the fight would have, at least the outcome would have been the same. Definitely he gassed out. Going for takedowns repeatedly. Trying to stand. And I don't think it was so much the fatigue. I thought he left his chin out there to be open a bit too much. I don't think he was defensively sound as much as he should have been. Poirier is a good counter striker, and if you give him openings, he's going to take advantage. I don't know who is worse, MVP Benoit or Cheeto. Cheeto. Who had the worst performance out of the 3? It's a good topic to talk about, so thank you for bringing that up. I don't know who is worse or who had the worst performance, MVP, Benoit, Cheeto. Well, MVP won, so I don't know why you're hating on MVP. MVP won, and I thought, if anything, he had a solid performance. Benoit got caught, but he wasn't that defensively sound. But I think the most frustrating out of Holland, Benoit, Cheeto, MVP, and company to me was Cheeto Vera. Don't mean to sound too critical, but to leave your chin out there in the way that you did, or I'm sorry, that was Benoit. For Cheeto Vera to not go for broke at that point, if you're getting hit that much, at that point, get knocked out or go for the knockout. Did Cheeto actually go for the knockout? Did Marlon Cheeto Vera go for the knockout? Did he go for broke? This is already the second time that we see him do this. He did it against Corey Sandhagen. But I had faith. I thought, listen, you know what? For the title, for all the marbles, for everything on the line, I thought he would have left it all out there. I think a serious question, a fair question is, did Marlon Vera do that? I would say no. You guys let me know if you felt that Marlon left it all out there. Again, he was getting pieced up. He got hit with one of the biggest knees I've ever seen. He does have a granite chin. No one is arguing that. But at the end of the day, did he leave it all out there for the title? I would say no. Miller, what happened to Vera? Didn't change up. What do you mean by that? What happened to Vera? Can you say that again, Wilson? What do you exactly mean by that? I did pick him to win. I did think he would leave it all out there. I'm not convinced that he did. Granted, he didn't get knocked out. He went all 5 rounds. He didn't win a round, I would say. But credit to Sean O'Malley, man. Looked great out there. What do you necessarily mean by that before we get off here, Wilson? MVP is trash. Stop. Scorey, you've been consistent, but he's not trash. MVP is good. I want to see him fight Stephen Thompson next. I think that's a no-brainer fight to make next. Stephen Thompson, MVP, kickboxing match is what it'll essentially be. That might have rhymed. Didn't mean to do that, but that's the obvious fight to make next. Now, at 7 p.m. Eastern, we're going to have Trey Melton as our co-host, as always, 7 p.m. tonight. And he picked Sean O'Malley to win, so I'm sure he's going to let us hear. I'm sure he's going to let us hear it. He's going to go off the rails on why he was right about Sean O'Malley. It's going to be annoying to listen to, but it will happen. HL says he didn't do a lot against O'Malley, but there was spurs where he could have done something. I thought O'Malley was fighting weird with head dips and stuff. I thought he got O'Malley's attention with some big strikes, and he didn't leave it all out there where he could have done a little bit more. Definitely leave it all out there might be his last chance. Vera didn't change up, make adjustments. Yeah. I don't know why he was fighting Sean O'Malley at range. You're not going to beat him with that style. So that's why I thought he should have just, at that point, if you're getting hit that much, at least go for broke. If you get knocked out, you get knocked out. But try to close the distance a bit more. He was too content on staying on the outside too often in the fight, in my opinion, is what I will say. #1 commentary channel on YouTube. Thank you guys for another great Monday afternoon podcast. The viewership was great. The calls were great. I think we got like 5 voicemails. Chris that then called in on Discord live on stream. We're getting better at these Monday afternoon podcasts every Monday morning, 2 p.m. Tonight, we'll be back at 7 p.m. with our co-host, Trey Mellon. Thank you guys for a fun show.